Hey, welcome guys. I am Chris. Welcome back to Facebook Live. We are here once again with our good friend, Monica Isola. Today we're talking about plantar fasciitis. I do want to briefly apologize. We're starting later than usual, and you may hear background noise. We've actually still got customers. It has been a hopping night at Track Shack. It's actually why we moved filming locations over here, but we are still going to get everything answered for you guys. As always, if you want to join into the conversation, hit that like button, love button, wow it. Share it with folks with plantar issues. Let them know what we're talking about. And if you have questions for us during this, type those in and continue letting us know in the future what topics you want to hear about. And this is one we're doing for you. So jumping right into it, Monica, we're talking plantar fasciitis, talking causes, treatment, recovery. But let's start at the most basic. Can you just define plantar fasciitis for us?
Absolutely, great question. So basically plantar fasciitis, it's going to be inflammation of the plantar fascia. So that's a thick fibrous band that's underneath the foot, and its primary role is basically supporting the arch. So signs and symptoms that people usually talk about when they have pain and irritation there is going to be pain in the heel. So especially on that first step when they get out of bed, that's the biggest complaint. They get out of bed and it's just like that really sharp pain along the heel. It can also be anywhere in the midfoot as well as just pain after just not walking a ton and then taking those first couple steps. And then it usually gets a little bit better, and then later on throughout the day it can tend to get a little bit worse.
Sure. Okay, and plantar, I know, is often caused by overuse. Kind of a long-term issue, but is there ever one sort of traumatic instance that sets it off, or is this always something that occurs over time?
Yeah, so it's usually an overuse injury, and then it tends to kind of be that, the final straw that breaks the camel's back, and then you all of a sudden start developing pain. But really, so my biggest goal for tonight is just emphasizing that there can be two very distinct issues that cause plantar fasciitis. One of them is going to be a very stiff, hypomobile, just a rigid foot. The other one's going to be the extreme opposite, someone who has a really hypermobile. So I call it, to all my patients, a loosey-goosey foot. So that's going to be the foot that just has a really collapsed low arch, has tons of mobility in it. That's going to be, all of that will lead to more stress in the plantar fascia. On the other side of the spectrum, again, someone with a high, very rigid arch, stiffness in the joints at the ankle, at the toe, they can also develop that pain and increased stress on the plantar fascia surface. And it's, again, just really important to know those distinctions, because that's going to base treatment.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's really important to know what the root cause is, or you're going to be treating it with something that might not be really the most effective way.
Absolutely. And speaking of some of those root causes, the plantar fascia itself obviously is in the foot. Mm-hmm. We've hit on that, and a lot of your worst symptoms occur in the foot. Mm-hmm. But I know that there's other muscle groups that are connected and can affect plantar fascia and plantar fasciitis specifically. Which of these groups, when not properly cared for, can lead to some of these flare-ups?
Yeah, so again, the plantar fascia is going to be on the bottom surface of the foot. So the fibers kind of go around the heel, and they actually connect with the whole muscle group that's along the back side of our leg, which are our calf muscles. Sure. So if there's a lot of stiffness, tightness in the calf, that's not going to allow our ankle to move the way it should, and it's going to pull and create stress on the plantar fascia, as well as in the big toe. The big toe actually needs good mobility, which it's we tend to not really think about the big toe too much. But both of those areas in the back and in the front are going to pull and create more strain if they're not properly cared for,
sure.
Like you said.
And that's something we tell people a lot when helping treat in the store, is like approach it from the front, right where the plantar is connecting, kind of in the ball of the foot area, and then again, exactly, in the back, loosen the calf, Achilles. That's something we find constantly, is the tight calf is a major culprit when it comes to plantar fasciitis. Yeah. You mentioned pain first thing in the morning, right at the beginning there. Are there other telltale symptoms that let you know that you have plantar fasciitis?
Honestly, that's one of the main ones. But again, so a lot of people, a risk factor is also people with occupations where they're standing all day. So people who work in warehouses, factories, teachers, where they're just standing for hours all day, and especially on more firm surfaces, they are at a higher risk of developing it.
And that's a lot of what we see folks working in warehouses, teachers, like you said, people that are barefoot on their hardwood floors at home, Monica, not to put you on the spot. No,
right
I know
now.
you're barefoot for examples later on. I'm just kidding. But okay, cool. So I think that really gets through a lot of the stuff we want to know on causes. And, we want kind of the meat and potatoes tonight, guys, to be focusing on the treatment. So quick reintroduction for those of you just joining. I'm Chris, Operations Director here at Track Shack with Monica Isola, one of our awesome AdventHealth physical therapists, and we're talking plantar fasciitis, and specifically right now, we're going to talk about treatment. So I know you talked about 2 types of feet. Let's talk about how we treat both types.
Exactly. So again, going into that loosey-goosey foot versus the very rigid, stiff foot. So the one that's loosey-goosey, it needs stability, it needs strength, versus the one that's really rigid and stiff needs a lot more mobility. So, and people can have a little mixture of both, but again, there's usually that root cause. It's going to be one or the other. So I'm going to show you 2 awesome exercises that I give a lot of my patients that work on strengthening all those small muscles that help to support your arch. So I'm going to take a seat, and this is why I'm barefoot for my lovely demonstration. So the first one is called toe yoga. The idea is, and I love the name, by the way, but the idea is that you're trying to push your big toe down into the ground while pulling your other small toes up, and then you're going to alternate. So you're going to go back and forth and try. The idea is not letting your foot lift up or your heel lift up off the ground, but just going again kind of back and forth, alternating. So really just working those small foot intrinsic muscles that again help to stabilize that arch for that really just again, loosey-goosey, for a lack of better terms, foot. A second one that I really like is called doming. So this is one where you're going to keep your toes, to keep your entire foot basically on the ground, and you want to think about trying to dome your arch without letting your toes curl. So honestly, I could use this exercise myself because I can see right, and I definitely do have more of that hypermobile foot. So again, just kind of arching and creating that dome, as well as, and I'm just kind of throwing this in there last minute, but doing some calf raises is also really good to help strengthen the calf. So those are all focusing on muscle groups. Then a great one, again, how we were talking about the importance of that gastroc, that calf muscle. So I love this pro stretch. You can look online for all different kinds of just, stretches, but this pro stretch is fantastic because it not only stretches the back of your leg, it stretches your gastroc, it also brings your big toe into a little bit of extension, which helps to further stretch out the bottom of your foot. It stretches out that plantar fasciitis. And so with these 30 seconds, 3 times a low load, prolonged duration stretch is going to be the most beneficial. So I love this pro stretch, and again, all of these are ones I know I could use.
And now, would those both be specific just to that more loosey-goosey, that more flexible foot, or are those exercises that someone with a more rigid, stiff foot would want to do as well?
Yeah, so definitely the stretch is going to be an important one for them. Honestly, that's not going to be where they get their best bang for their buck. So it's not going to hurt them for sure, but it's not, if that's what they do all day, it's probably not going to get you where you want to be as quickly as you'd want.
Okay, and for that stiffer foot, what's an exercise that might help them get some relief? Would massaging be something?
So that's another one. So the calf stretching, the massage, so where you basically roll underneath, and then also doing so another good one too is stretching out that big toe. So it's mostly limitations, again, further at the ankle, at the toe, and tightness in the bottom of the foot. So doing the roller, massage. You could even self-massage. I tell my patients all the time, I'm like, get your finger in there, massage it out. It's not, the most pleasant thing in the world, but that's going to help it loosen up a little bit. And then also with physical therapy, doing soft tissue mobilization and joint mobilizations, there's great evidence behind that.
Monica, can you demonstrate the doming one more time for us? Let me get a good view of that.
Yeah, let me stand up, and it's honestly, because I'm not really the best at it, but the idea, again, is that you're lifting up your arch while keeping your toes down, and your goal is to not let your toes curl. And a progression, so you can start doing it all sitting, but then you can start doing it standing. You could even then get onto one leg and practice, which I don't even know if I could. I would need a little bit of assistance. But I mean, those are all excellent progressions, because then think, running is a single leg sport. We need good stability of our arch while standing on one leg. So that's that progression of the doming, and the toe yoga can also be done standing both legs, and then also you can progress to doing it on one foot.
A missed opportunity, I think, to not call the toe yoga toga. I felt like,
I mean,
but
yes,
that
is it's abbreviation.
Yeah, so with doming, really too, I kind of like to rehash, because that's something we work on sometimes, and we hear from physical therapists all the time. It's kind of like to isolate the arch, right? You want to feel the arch raised, to raise your arch, but without utilizing the toes to do so.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're moving that by itself. And we talked about massage briefly. This is the R3. This is one of our personal favorite massage tools here at the store. You kind of want to put this wider side facing your opposite foot, and you can really dig into the plantar, into the arch. Now, one thing we sometimes recommend, and I want to see if it's the same take you have on it, Monica, is that, you know, right from the beginning, we've talked about the attachments in the front and the attachments in the back.
Yeah.
When someone is really suffering from plantar fasciitis and that foot's excessively tight and that fascia is pulled so taut, we'll advise to massage the front, massage the back, but maybe in that middle component, right under the arch itself, not to overdo it as to not inflame it when it is really bad. Is that part of your practice as well?
Oh, absolutely. So you don't want to be inflaming something that's already inflamed. So that's why even when it comes to stretching, it's all about that low load, prolonged duration. So being more gentle, and even, you know, giving the most painful part a little bit of a break, but you can also even back off and have them just go really gentle, nice and easy, but you shouldn't be in tears. I mean, when you're doing all these stretches, because it's more about consistency. It's more about doing it, again, just more often than it is about aggression, which is, I feel like, the way that we were all taught to stretch. Like, stretch until you're shaking and like hold it for 10 seconds and then let go.
You do it
Does
cold,
nothing.
You pull something. Do you want to maybe do a little rolling example here of how to target those front and back areas?
So, and again, I would take a seat. Don't be overly aggressive with this. So definitely standing up, you would get it more. But sitting down, you can be nice and easy with it. And again, it's more about consistency. As it becomes more tolerable, then you can start being a little bit more aggressive. But I think that's kind of over the period of us thinking, again, we have to be just stretching so hard that we're in tears and just, you know, no pain, no gain. That's definitely not true when it comes to stretching, and when it comes to...
It feels pretty good when you hit the right spot, doesn't it?
No, this is great, actually. I like that a lot.
And I want to touch on insoles as kind of the last part of treatment, but backtracking to something you just said, which is that you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to massage super aggressively, and the same with stretching, but you do want to do it often, right? And I think that might be the most important point that we try to relay to folks with plantar fasciitis, is that if you truly, like, all of these things, there's kind of two components we were talking about before we started, right? Relief and recovery. And all of the things, the massage, the stretch, they can all give you that instant relief. But if you only do them once a day or twice a week, your plantar fasciitis probably won't go away long term, right? You have to sort of, it's adding time to your day. It's blocking out. I'll tell folks to put their calf stretcher in their office or in the spot where they watch TV the most often, same with the foot massager. But we're talking multiple times a day, right? Anywhere from 90 seconds up to 5-10 minutes, right? To really make sure those symptoms clear up.
No, exactly. It's a little bit of a commitment in that aspect, but at the same time, if you just kind of make it a lifestyle and just have it in a place where you can see it, it doesn't take that long sitting at your desk and massaging it out. So that's definitely going to cut that whole length of it down a lot. Because it's something, plantar fasciitis can last anywhere from a year to even 18 months. I mean, it's kind of a nasty one if you really don't just nip it at the bud as quickly
really
as you
linger.
can.
For sure. I use a Colin Powell quote for folks sometimes with plantar. I say you want to go swiftly with overwhelming force, but not hard force, not the pressure of the stretching,
there we
right?
go.
But to be repetitive, to do it often.
And if it gets
not
you
an
back
endorsement
to
of any kinds of military tactics. It's good for plantar treatment.
And if you do it, again, that's right. If you do it often, you're gonna get back to running much quicker. So I think most of us want that.
Yeah, and one thing we see often, be it PTs, podiatrists, anyone sending folks in with plantar fasciitis is insoles often are on that referral. So could you explain a little bit how, I've got Superfeet here, which is one of our more rigid insoles, so I know this is for your more flexible type foot, but if you could go a little into detail about how the rigidity can help a loosey-goosey, as you've been saying, foot like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So there is strong evidence showing for orthotics, and it can be prefabricated like this, has actually been shown to be pretty comparable to custom. Now, there are certain feet that need that custom shoe, especially more of the rigid feet. But majority of the people do super well with prefabricated orthotics. Yeah. So again, I mean, you just want something that's going to help elevate and help stabilize that foot. So it's not about being overly aggressive unless, again, they need that. But these have been shown, again, strong evidence with using them. And it can help reduce pain, especially in those first couple months, getting back into activity, into walking.
And sometimes we'll, like, if we see that stiffer foot, something again, and this is stuff we learn working with all the podiatrists we do, and I don't want to get your opinion on it, but so, you can see these are very rigid, right? These super feet, they're not going to bend at all. So if you've got that more mobile, that loosey-goosey foot, this is going to hold it in place and give you that relief. Now, if you have that stiffer foot, like you've talked about, this isn't going to do much, right? Because you don't want to add rigidity. So sometimes we'll show an insole like this that's flexible, but it raises the Achilles and kind of reducing the work that calf and lower leg has to do. Is that something that you find is good for plantar relief also?
Yes, absolutely. It decreases that tension and the length further up at the Achilles so that there's less stress. Same thing too. I mean, it's good to raise because they have, it has to fill the arch because again, we're thinking of a foot that's super rigid and it's a high arch. So so if it's not going down, which we do need in normal stride, if it's not going down, that's putting a ton of strain. So having something that elevates it.
Good arch example for you
there we go.
That's your rigid foot. Monica's flexible,
so
nice high bridged arch like that,
so you would definitely benefit more from something like this. So that's why I really wanted to emphasize it's important to know that root cause or get a better idea just to really streamline treatment. Because if you're just doing kind of a cookie cutter approach, it's a 50-50 chance if it's going to get you better quicker. But this is a great one.
So one more quick reintroduction, guys. Chris Hughes, Operations Director here at Track Shack. Monica Isola, our AdventHealth physical therapist. We've talked causes of plantar fasciitis. As far as treatment, we've gone over, we just touched on insoles, or we did foot massaging, we did calf stretching. I want to move into kind of the final phases of recovery and or treatment, but is there any other kind of favorite exercises of yours that you would demonstrate or advise that the folks at home that are dealing with this, or do you think we've kind of covered them?
Well, we covered them, but that last one I did throw in the calf raises. Super important, and I'll actually go ahead and demonstrate this one because there's a fun way to do it that can really isolate and benefit it more. So going up on both toes and then working the more affected leg eccentrically, so meaning you're controlling the motion on the way down. So we call these 2-to-1 calf raises, or you can call them calf eccentrics. But the idea is that you're going, again, up with both legs. You can go up a little bit faster, but you're going slow and controlled down with one foot. That, again, really helps to strengthen that calf muscle, strengthen the Achilles, which helps to provide more support for your arch. So awesome. I love that one. That's a great one. Other than the toe yoga, the dome, and then getting really into stretching. All of those have just been shown to have good evidence. And then going back into the shoes, there is some evidence of switching. So especially for those people who are working all day on hard surface and they're standing a lot, changing shoes up. So trying to alternate shoes daily. Like every other day, so at least having a second or even third pair, and that's also in combination with the orthotic use.
Certainly.
So just another something to consider for treatment.
And that's something we tell folks, whether it's plantar or not. The foam in those shoes will, you're bearing weight on them all day, and actually overnight, if you wear another pair the next day, it will regain some of its form, so it is a little more plush. It fills up a little more your arch that next day if you're not beating it down every day. So that's a very good point. We're lucky here. We wear running shoes all day. They're super comfy at work, but I never run even in the same shoe I wear at work because I like that feeling of sliding into something different.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of a subconscious, preference. You got to mix it up a little.
Definitely. Yeah.
Obviously, you're a physical therapist. So when you've been giving exercises, they're all the types of things you'd likely suggest to someone if they came to see you. A lot of them, the calf stretching, the massaging, are things we suggest in store too. And we're always quick to tell folks, hey, here's some ways we think you can get relief. This can get you on the road to recovery, but we're not medical professionals. So if someone is really just in the worst stages of plantar and they're feeling it, kind of what's that point at which you would recommend going to see a healthcare professional, someone like yourself, and what are the best ways for them to go about doing that?
Yeah, so hopefully they would come before they're at that point of just, extreme pain.
Sure.
So with any kind of injury, really the sooner that you get things treated, the better. And I say that a lot, with patients because, it kills me if they would have come in, a couple months ago, you just would have gotten better. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, so if it's something that's lingering and it's worsening, over 2 to 3 weeks, really anything we would think should resolve within 2 weeks. So if something is continuing to worsen after 2 to 3 weeks, I would definitely recommend going in, seeing a therapist. So we actually have direct access where you don't need a physician's referral to come and see us. So you can walk or call or walk into any clinic to make an appointment with a physical therapist. And again, the quicker we can address these issues, the quicker you're going to get back to, onto your road to recovery. So I always hope people come before they're at that point of giving up with everything. But definitely, do these easier, more simple things first.
Yeah.
Definitely consistency with all of the calf stretching, work on your strengthening. But if you feel like you're still a little bit lost and you're not sure maybe what your root cause is, and you're really struggling to get back to the things you love, definitely come see a physical therapist, come and see me, and we can lead you. We can help guide you.
We're so fortunate to have a partnership, obviously, with a company like AdventHealth and amazing partners like Monica who can treat you. You walk in, it might be Monica treating you directly. If it's not, we're confident in that whole physical therapy team there. They truly are. And look, our goal here every month, guys, is giving you health and fitness tips, topics that our community is interested in. Keep reminding us about what those are. We want your feedback. We want to cover the topics that you want to hear about. And I want it to be an experience for everyone. So again, like it, love it, share it with folks that have plantar. Type in questions after the fact. We'll try to get to them. And next month, tune in. We are going to be talking about holiday gifts, which is super fun, stocking stuffers, etc. It is that time of year, and we've got Thanksgiving Day Turkey Trot coming up. OUC Orlando Half and Lake Eola 5K on December 7th. We've got the Reindeer Run December 14th. Get yourself a cookie cutter medal out there at SeaWorld. And just thank you again, Monica, the whole team at AdventHealth. So fortunate to work with a group like that, and fortunate to have awesome community like you guys every month. We'll see you in December for gifts. Thanks for tuning in.
Awesome. Bye.